Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to England. Yeah, it's weird to hear me say it out loud as well. If you've not watched yesterday's episode for York City where I dropped this particular bombshell, admittedly that's been spoiled now of course, go do watch that please, it's important to the York save. This is going to run simultaneously but all the England stuff will happen on Sundays or double uploads or what have you, so it won't interrupt the York stuff. We'll take a dive into the England setup after the intro. I'm going to start you off with something that doesn't really affect England in 2028 anyway. I'm not sure if I ever brought this up in an episode, but it would have been about 5 or 6 years ago in game. I'm not sure what point during this seasonal year he actually did this. But Harry Kane retired at the age of 29. I have no idea why, because he was still pretty prolific for at least 2 more years, and certainly would have done a job at 31 at the following tournament. And I have no idea why he retired when he did. But at 35, he's not in the picture anyway. So England's top players look a little bit like this. Apparently Tony McGee at Liverpool. He's just signed from Southampton. Yeah, I wanted him. Declan Rice is at Madrid. Lewis Cook's at Man United. We knew about that one. Dele Alli's moved to Inter now. I think we saw him at some point last year. Raheem Sterling at Man City still. Sessegnon's at Liverpool. We've seen him around. Jordan Pickford is curious because he's 34 years old. Still obviously very technically and mentally decent and still England number 1. Irritatingly, no one's come through the system just yet. And none of the young ones have matched his level. You can see Dewhurst and Dean Henderson here as well. But no one's really coming through. Like, no one's come through in 10 years to challenge even these guys, which is a tad awkward. Rice is vice captain, and the key player is Nathan Watson. We've seen him at Chelsea. That's Nathan Watson. 24 years old. He's on £350,000 a week, and he has been ridiculous. Actually, he's only scored 57 goals. I was about to say ridiculous. But that's not the best of return rates. In fact, he's not really been on the boil the last 2 years, you'd argue. 2 sensational years early on-ish. 2024, 25 and 26. 7.61 and 7.52 averages on those years. Last 2 years, not quite. I mean, don't get me wrong, 6.99 isn't bad. But when you compare it to the past and for an England setup, it's not good enough. So if we just pop over to the schedule, you can see they've recently lost to Italy in the Euro Championships 2028 semi-final against Italy. Did get past Portugal on penalties. What a remarkable feat. But our European Division A Group 3 sees us with Northern Ireland, Spain and Scotland. 2 home nations and Spain. Not the easiest ones, I suppose, but because I think pretty much only the top team goes through to the knockout thing for these European things. I know what it is. I forgot what they call it, but it's that tournament. It's that tournament that we play instead of friendlies, basically. The last World Cup, we actually got to the final of that. Smashed Italy 6-1 in that one. Reece James got 4. Oh no. I might actually put this up on the screen, but recently on the Southampton stream save, Reece James got 5 in a game. Why is he doing this everywhere? Only got to the quarterfinals of the European Championship before that. I'm not going to go into these tournaments as a whole because I'm going to save that for next year. At the end of next year, I'm going to do the 10 years in this save kind of video. So I'm only going to bring you the English stuff right here and right now. And 2022 World Cup and second round. I don't know when Chris Wilder took over. I will just check that. And obviously the mythical Euro 2020s, second round as well. So the first couple of years didn't go particularly well. And I suspect Southgate probably left after that World Cup debacle. But Chris Wilder has been manager for ages. And I don't know when he took over. So actually Southgate left at the end of the 2020 Euros, where they only got to the second round. So Chris Wilder survived the second round knockout of the World Cup. And the quarter final, I think it was, of the Euros the year after that. Surprisingly. And he resigned as well. It wasn't sacked. The FA reasonably patient. Southgate even stepped down himself as well. He wasn't sacked either. But they've won this International League thing. I've forgotten again. I still don't know, can't remember what the real title of that is, but we've won that twice apparently. So there is a little bit of pressure on us to get through this. And I might do an episode with these first 2 games against Spain and Scotland because, let's be honest, Scotland, big rivalry, and Spain, big team. And it's the first time you'll see the England team in action. I probably won't really bring you anything else when it comes to the European League thing. But there will be separate videos for the main tournaments when they come around. But yeah, I'll certainly bring you, say, these 2 matches in the first international break when that happens as an episode somewhere. Like, these are just going to be like bonus episodes. I'm not even sure if I'm going to number them with the York numbering. I'll probably work that out when I upload it. I think tactics is probably the best place to look at the players we've got at our disposal. Obviously, I've had a look at the players a little bit to set up the tactic in the first place, but that's as far as I've gone. There is one name missing from the actual list available here, and that's Raheem Sterling. And Sterling is injured, broken ankle, out for 2 months. but you did see him as one of the highest rated English players on the main England page. That's why he doesn't exist here, though. And that's actually surprising. There's still a solid amount of actual face people 10 years in. A whole bunch of youngsters, of course, players like Bellingham still around, Mount, Rashford and Greenwood. Rashford's 30, Foden's 28, Mason Greenwood's only 26. Of course, the next major tournament is in 2 years' time. So a player like Marcus Rashford, maybe on the outside of that one, just about 32 years old, maybe just about squeaks in, depending on who comes through, of course. But players like Jude Bellingham, 25, he'll be 27 in 2 years' time. Mason Greenwood will be 28 in 2 years' time. Mount, 31, probably still just about there. Gomez at 33, again on the outside. But of course, Courage exists. I still really don't understand Courage's star rating, if I'm honest. He's got good marking, but his tackling and heading aren't fantastic. He's just got very good physicals and very good mentals. Trent at 29 should still be fine in 2 years' time as well at 31. But yeah, that Nathan Watson, he's only 24, of course, and he's got 2 years basically to buck his ideas up before he gets to a major tournament. Of course, Pickford in 2 years' time, I'm going to have a massive dilemma in 2 years' time with Pickford, because he's going to be 36 and probably not even playing. So we need to get an English goalkeeper through fast, because I'm not really sure a player like Dewhurst or even Henderson should really be starting. I mean, Henderson's 31 himself, so a few of these players are probably on their outs as well. Players like John Stones won't be... He's 34 already. He won't be here by then. Tipple is the challenger to Watson, by the way. Chris Tipple, he's at Manchester City. I'm not sure how many times we've seen him in the episodes for York, but he's also very, very good. And actually still pretty much starts despite the acquisition of a player like Werner Bender, who we have highlighted. I do remember that. And actually, 7.16 his last season was better than Watson's. So there is a bit of a fight for the striking role, at least. I'd say defensively, we're possibly a little bit weak. You know, Tomori's decent, but 30. John Stones is too old. Gomez is fine. Courage is young and coming through, thankfully. And also York, of course. Do expect me to call up James Grimes, though, by the way. I've not done it yet, but he will be here, at the very least as a bench player. Mostly to provide backup to Mount, who obviously can step into that attacking midfielder role as well if necessary. But Lewis Cook is pretty solid as well, but 31. Again, another player that we've probably got to think about easing out of the squad over the next 2 years. Chilwell, the left back, same situation, 31. Dele Alli's too old as well, he's 32 already. Declan Rice probably should be fine. Max Aarons will be fine as well. So right back, we're solid. We've got Trent and Aarons for the next 2 years. That's not an issue. Tomori's 30. He should be okay for the next one as well. Tony McGee, of course, coming through. He's very, very good. Actually, speaking of centre-backs, we might be all right then with Tony McGee and Coleridge next to each other. But the only problem is Tony's not really ball playing in any way, shape or form. 11 passing, 9 technique. It's not good. And the bottom end of those mentals are incredibly worrying. 9 teamwork, 9 vision, 9 work rate. Vision, fair enough, but leadership 9 as well. It's not superb. Rest of the mentals, sensational. And the physicals too. It's the main reason why I'm actually preferring Coleridge, because at the very least he has 11 teamwork and 12 work rate and 15 leadership. And that's what you need as an England centre-back, because Gomez's isn't brilliant either. And Tomori's is lowest as well. So he's actually got the highest leadership of any defender. And if we just bob ourselves into the under-21s, where we're obviously going to be promoting people from, we can see Bradley Saxton there, of course, our player, and he might actually get promoted sooner rather than later, because that left-back was a bit of an issue. Brian Byrne, he's at Wolves, he's pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if Billy Clark, there he is on this list as well. He's just been picked up by Man United. I was tracking him at West Ham. Thing is, he is a winger rather than an inside forward. I'm not sure if he's actually capable of doing it on the right-hand side as an inside forward. Yeah, he doesn't have any capability on the right-hand side yet, so I would have had to trade him in. Just talking from a York perspective there, so he is a winger rather than an inside forward, which is problematic for him being in the England setup, because he would have to be trained on that opposite side as an inside forward to figure into my plans in that regard. And realistically, I need to be looking at these goalkeepers now. Dwight Hardy's worth 12 million at Southampton at 19 years old. Potential doesn't seem to be great though. Mehmet Man at Man City, valued at basically nothing. Again, potential's not great. And Ethan Leake, 22 at West Brom, he's basically already had his potential. So goalkeeping, still an issue. We might have to rely on a player like Marcus Dewhurst whilst another goalkeeper comes through. Ed Halliday's another one with great potential, I think. He was at Arsenal. I'm not sure if he's on loan at Reading or actually contracted to him there. I think he might actually have been bought. Bleedy Red Jeppy, expect him to possibly come through as well. Actually, no, his potential stopped. But he's pretty decent as things stand. He might be a solid backup if players get injured and what have you. In fact, if we sorted by value, you can probably see the ones that are likely going to step through here. Jamil Edwards at Sheffield United is pretty solid too. But Grimes will obviously be ahead of him. I don't know where Grimes is, actually. I think he may have just got slightly too old for the under-21, so he's not featuring in this and hasn't been called up to the main team just yet. Any of these goalkeepers in the unders have any potential to be good? No? Oh dear. No one is decent. There's a 17-year-old worth 10 million at Chelsea here. Jake Smart. Okay, expect him to come through at some point, I would imagine. And this left back at West Brom as well, maybe. Considering he's at West Brom, 14 million for a 20-year-old. Again, but the potential isn't great, though. We'll see on that front. Obviously, Bradley Saxton. I might even promote him now, to be honest. There's no B team. I will make use of the B team, obviously. There we are. I've just called up James Grimes. That's why I had to remove someone. But he obviously steps in, particularly with that teamwork in there as well. It's what you want in an English midfielder, is a lot of great teamwork on that. And he always steps right into the middle of his potential as well, ability-wise. Now, I think Sessegnon will be fine at left-back. His tackling is not great. That's my only issue with him. I honestly think left-back depends on how well Ben Chilwell holds on to his ability. Because I'm honestly not sold on Sessegnon as a left-back. I may have to call up Saxton. But anyway, leave your thoughts down below on what I should do in that regard. I'll leave the video here, however. And if there's any updates in regards to, obviously, player picks and anything like that, I'll let you know when we play that Scotland and Spain game at some point. I have no idea when that will appear. In fact, I've just realised this international break happens before when I'm intending to bring you back on the York front for the Champions League stuff. So expect to see these two videos in an episode tomorrow on Sunday. I'll see you then. Until then, ta-ra.